This 5,000-year-old prosthetic eye found near Zabul in Iran is the oldest in history. It was made from tar and animal fat and painted gold. The wearer was a 6-foot-tall priestess. Do not remove the golden eye from the unnaturally large holy woman's skeleton. Please. Yeah, I mean, we out here preparing for the next pandemic, right? Like, that's what's gonna happen. I'm pretty sure we've seen this before, but it's never gonna end well, is it? Special thank you to my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel and supporting my content. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. Today we're going to be taking a look at r/WitchesVsPatriarchy. This is a subreddit that was recommended to me in the comments, so I thought, yeah, why not? Let's have a look, shall we? I didn't really know what to expect going into this subreddit, but you know, it's a pretty fun one, so we'll have a good time. Before I begin, however, I just wanted to mention that I will be streaming over at Twitch in 2 hours as of this video going live. I'm going to be playing Monster Hunter. It's been a long time since I had a go at Monster Hunter, but we finished Elden Ring and I tried out Neo and just really didn't enjoy it. So Monster Hunter it is, because I haven't played it in ages. That's Monster Hunter Rise, by the way. So yeah, go check out the stream, go say hi. Other than that, let's take a look at the subreddit, shall we? Catholic Church. No meat on Fridays. Okay, so no eggs for breakfast. No, eggs are okay, but eggs are chicken. Not until they hatch. So the thing isn't the thing until it's born? That's correct. No, wait. We love a double standard. I'm a vegetarian. I do still eat egg. We don't consider them meat, and like I'm fine with that because they be tasty, and you know they're technically not a viable thing, so they're not going to become a creature. That's the point of the post, really. You know that something isn't a thing until it is. So eggs aren't animals until they are. I don't know where I was going with that. I'm just gonna leave it there because I'm not going anywhere. I refuse to ever teach my daughters the archaic concept of losing one's virginity. As if some baby-dicked boy who drives a Honda Civic is really taking something special from you. LMAO, grow up and overthrow the government. Yeah, virginity is a really weird concept. Like, because why does it matter? You know, why does it matter if someone has or hasn't had sex? Why do we even need a title for someone that has or hasn't done that? It's so incredibly unnecessary. It doesn't matter. It shouldn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a word that was put out there by conservatives to shame people who don't live by their standards, while also often not living by their own standards. Me at 16. Punk means dressing in raggedy safety pin clothes and listening to music loud because everyone can funk off. Me now. Punk is letting dandelions completely take over your front yard because the bees like them and landlords hate it. Punk is whatever makes you happy that irritates people who are used to having total control. I think gender and, you know, sexual orientation and things like that are actually a huge part of this. I think punk was a huge move towards accepting these things because it was the whole like, wow, people don't want to accept these things that are normal so they can go to hell. And it's like, you know, for example, look at the Buzzcocks, a very famous punk band. The lead singer, gay. In fact, one of their most famous songs, Ever Fallen in Love with Someone You Shouldn't Have, is about a gay relationship. So being, you know, gender non-conforming, being anything other than straight are all very punk things. And there are people that will try and tell you you're not allowed to be those things. Just existing as a trans person is punk. Just existing as a gay person is punk, because people hate the fact that you exist and you're just having a good time existing. That's pretty punk if you ask me. Long hair and a dress around children? You sicko. Yeah, just wait until they find out about how Jesus talked about paying taxes, not hoarding wealth, helping those who are impoverished, you know, not being a capitalist, saying, for example, that a rich man entering heaven is like a camel passing through the eye of a needle. Just various small things like that conservatives worship this man while very much not worshipping his views. That's it. That's that's the whole statement there. You can't worship a man if you don't worship what he stood for. The Tennessee House just passed a bill completely gutting marriage equality. The bill could allow county clerks to deny marriage licenses to same-sex, interfaith, or interracial couples in Tennessee. Just going off the back of what I just said, Jesus, a man very much preaching love and respect everyone, regardless of who they are, right? Even if you don't like someone, even if you consider someone to be your enemy, he pushed loving them. He also pushed the whole "he who is without sin cast the first stone," a statement coming off the back of nobody on earth is without sin, so nobody should be judging each other. And yet, here we are, regressing laws, making religious people have a right to deny people marriage because they don't agree with them, because they don't like the fact that gay people exist, or that interracial couples can exist. This is a bill literally allowing homophobia, racism, and forcing your religion on others in the name of a man who was the opposite to all of that. What more could I possibly say there? What more needs to be said? Christians, right? Conservative Christians, right-wing Christians are about as un-Christian as it gets. Something I heard a lot growing up. Girls, boys mature more slowly than you. Make allowances for them. Something I never heard. Boys, girls mature more rapidly than you. Look at them as examples of intelligence and leadership. Yeah, I never heard that either, quite frankly. As someone who grew up AMAB, I never once was told like, hey, girls mature faster than you and therefore you should like look up to them as something that is more adult and grown up. It was never like these people have developed faster than you, so you should look at them as a sign of like, this is how to develop. It was always like, they developed faster than you, so they have to deal with you. It's setting girls up to have to deal with toxic masculinity and problematic men from a very young age. A very, very young age. And that's kind of just not acceptable. Being anti-trans won't free you from patriarchy or racism. How small of you to be seduced by the opportunity to oppress others for a taste of power while remaining powerless in your own life. Yeah, I've thought about this in the past. I don't think I've ever explicitly talked about it in a video, but being a TERF is a perfect example of someone who feels they are oppressed and uses that opportunity to oppress others, right? Trans women are not oppressing cis women. They're just not. And yet TERFs will use every opportunity they have to use their femininity as a way of oppressing trans women. They believe that they are feminists and that they are moving towards equality and empowerment, but they will use their own opportunities to be exactly the same as what they believe they are fighting against. They believe they are fighting against patriarchy, oppression, and inequality, and yet they will do everything within their power to be exactly that to trans people. Like when people are like, oh, you just brand these feminists TERFs because you don't like them. No, TERFs exist because they're hypocrites. I couldn't care about whether I like them as a person or not. What I care about is the fact that they are a hypocrite, of the fact that they claim to be fighting oppression and inequality while actively engaging in it. It makes them a hypocrite. That's just it. They just are. It's got nothing to do with the fact that they're a feminist. Sometimes I remember the time I said the joke, when Pandora opened the box of horrors, a man came out and explained them to her. And a man literally explained to me that Pandora was a myth. Who needs that explained? Who needs to have it explained to them that Pandora is a myth? What? So what we know is that Pandora's curse it never ended. It's still ongoing. It's a real thing and it's still lasting. For every girl who is tired of acting weak when she is strong, there is a boy tired of appearing strong when he feels vulnerable. For every boy who is burdened with the constant expectation of knowing everything, there is a girl tired of people not trusting her intelligence. For every girl who is tired of being called oversensitive, there is a boy who fears to be gentle to weep. For every boy whom competition is the only way to prove his masculinity, there is a girl who is called unfeminine when she competes. For every girl who throws out her easy bake oven, there is a boy who wishes to find one. For every boy struggling not to let advertising dictate his desires, there is a girl facing the ad industry's attacks on her self-esteem. For every girl who takes a step towards her liberation, there is a boy who finds the way to freedom a little easier. That's a pretty powerful statement, and I mean, I just have to agree with everything it says, right? We follow this outdated view on what it is to be a man or a woman, on what that even means. And times change, things move on, okay? Even if we weren't going through a time where we were pushing for trans inclusion and non-binary and agender and all of these things, even if none of that existed, which it does, but even if none of that existed, society moves on. Things that are deemed gender norms in the modern era would be completely different 300 or 400 years ago. Times move on, and yet people who exist still refuse to accept that times have moved on. They get left behind, and then they cling to outdated views because it's the only way they can find themselves actually remaining in this world. They don't realize that these outdated views are outdated and that they've been left behind. They just think that everyone else is crazy. Adapting and evolving is so important to humanity that it's something we've done since the conception of humanity. Gender norms are stupid. They make no sense. So why do we still push them? Iran's Food and Drug Administration has ordered pharmacies to force their female staff to wear black veils at workplace. Iranian men are mocking this order and supporting their female colleagues by wearing hijab. Compulsory hijab is the main pillar of a religious relationship. Together, we will bring this wall down. I stand these men. They are doing a good thing. This is great. I mean, it's obviously not great that these women are being forced to wear hijabs just to work, but it's great that these men are standing with them in a country that absolutely is against them. That's just great. That's just amazing. Did you know, in 1913, suffragettes asked a British official why the cricket pavilion in Tunbridge Wells didn't allow women? He replied, "It is not true that women are banned from the pavilion. Who do you think makes the teas?" They burned the pavilion down in protest. You know, that's one way of going about it. But the condescending, snarky retort to, hey, why aren't women allowed to be here? Of like, oh, you can be in the kitchen. Oh, and it's crazy to think that this was over 100 years ago and people like that still exist. Like, a lot. All over social media, there are people like that still making those kinds of comments. It's crazy that we haven't moved on in 100 years. Well, most of us have, but some people refuse to. And the final post. Age 5. I don't like babies. Quiet, dear. Age 15. I just don't want kids. You'll change your mind. You're naive and young. Age 25. Still don't want them. Children are little miracles. Age 45. Your biological clock is ticking. Too bad. Age 85. Aren't you so miserable and alone and so sad and filled with regret? Nah, shut up. Yeah, I mean, I feel the exact same way. I don't want children. And like, that's not anyone else's business. This goes for anybody that doesn't want children, right? You have a right to not want children, and that's never gonna be anyone else's business but yours, ever. That's your business. No one has a right to tell you you need to have children or should have children or that you're running out of time to have children. That's just gross. Let people not have children if they don't want to. It's not like we're short on people having children, okay? More people are being born than dying, constantly, at all times. Let people not have children. And that's where I'm going to end the video, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. Oh boy. Stream, 2 hours. Check it out. Monster Hunter Rise. If you want to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. It genuinely helps, but I'm going to keep making content whether or not people support me, but it genuinely helps. I mean, me and Leo are looking at buying apartments, and the cost of living at the moment is expensive, and I'm gonna have to ask my boss for more hours soon, because on the hours I'm working, I'm not going to be able to afford it. I'm going to keep making 2 videos a week, don't worry. It shouldn't affect my content, but like, if you wanted to support me and help things like me and Leo actually be afford to have our own home, well, apartment that we rent, then please feel free to support me. Other than that, special thank you to all of the people that do support me. All of you are incredible, wonderful people. You do make things like that so much easier, so thank you so much. All of your names are on screen. You guys make it so that me and Leo could potentially live together as is planned. So yeah, thank you to everybody that does. Other than that, thank you so much for watching, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed, and as always, I will see you in the next video. Peace out.